Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, July 4th. Happy 4th of July, Payton and Kenny, first and foremost. We've got some stuff to talk about. I'm going to put you boys on the spot right away. Favorite 4th of July tradition? I know Payton's a little bit under the weather. I don't know how much celebrating you'll be doing, but do you have anything you guys like to do for the 4th of July? Fireworks people, grill people?
Fireworks.
People?
I love fireworks. Watching them, blowing up a couple of them. It's fun.
I don't think I've ever shot off a firework myself, but I do enjoy them. They're fun.
I don't know. I have a couple things. It kind of changes over the years. You move, you grow up. But fireworks used to be like the biggest thing ever. Like it was like my cul-de-sac at home. I think they used to drop like $500 a year. Like it was ridiculous. Get together, shoot the fireworks off. You weren't in you were in the county. You weren't in the city limits, so you could do whatever you wanted.
Right.
And then it turned into those gunshots or fireworks. Over the years. But either way, it was fireworks, and that was like the best part.
I had fun on the 4th of July. I used to go to the small town my grandparents lived in. I'd be in the parade every year, and that was always fun. You throw out the candy and deck out like a car with a bunch of 4th of July theme streamers. But I'll probably watch a fireworks show. So happy 4th. Hope everyone's enjoying. I hope everyone's enjoying the 4-day weekend. It's always nice when it falls on the Friday if people got off on the 3rd. But we're not, because we're on the grind, because we're the most dependable Mizzou podcast ever. We don't celebrate holidays here. We just celebrate recruiting wins, and we talk about recruiting wins. And Mizzou got a couple of them on the 1st of July, starting off the month with a bang, both in football and in basketball. We're going to talk hoops first. This was a really exciting one. Mizzou, if you're already seeing his image and name on the YouTube if you're watching, but Mizzou landed Scottie Adkinson. He committed back on July 1st. Their first commit in the class of 2027, which is especially funny because they do not have a commit in the class of 2026. So jumping a year, but getting off to a really good start here, guys, with Adkinson. He's a 4-star kind of combo guard. On three's got him at the 26th overall player, the number 6 point guard and the number 2 player in Missouri. He's out of Webster Groves, so he's another local kid in St. Louis. Won the Class 5 championship with Webster Groves last March. And that's kind of where I want to start for both of you guys. Payton, I'm going to go to Kenny first, but I want you to talk about especially just kind of the excitement around what Dennis Gates continues to do with kind of these high caliber guys. I know he's still a long way out, but Kenny, for you first, and for both of you guys, when I saw this happen and I read some of Kenny's reporting about it and just saw how this kind of came to be, it was a little reminiscent to me of, I thought kind of Aaron Rowe. Now I know his recruitment kind of bridged the two coaches, but he was a guy who Mizzou landed kind of well in advance of his actual start. I feel like we've heard of him forever. He's only going to be a freshman now coming into this season. This feels a little similar to me with Scottie Adkinson, fellas, but a huge in-state recruiting win. Kenny, you first, and Payton, your thoughts on both of y'all's thoughts on this. This feels pretty big, as much as it is, a little bit kicking the can down the road with him being in 2027.
This is even sooner than Aaron Rowe. I think Aaron Rowe was in December of his junior year. Scottie Adkinson hasn't even taken a class in his junior year yet. It's still the summer. Still kind of feeling that out. And a cool thing, I just talked to Scottie Adkinson a couple of days ago, and he was like, it's getting close to commitment time. And I was like, oh, interesting. It's a weird thing to say for a kid in the class of 2027 about a school that hasn't even gotten a commit in 2026. A couple days later, he's committed to Mizzou. Yeah, last time he went on a visit was on June 20th. That's like his 7th visit is what I logged on his On3 profile, his Rivals profile. And, he's just always been there. And I even asked his coach, Justin Mathis at Webster Groves, just talking to him. And, I was like, did it surprise you at all? And he's like, not necessarily that he's committed to Mizzou, but maybe the timing. But he's a very mature kid. He's been there so many times. He made up his mind. He just said, why wait? That was like the big thing that he talked to his coach, Justin Mathis, about it. Mizzou really laid out a plan for him, what they think about, his opportunity to be a combo guard at the SEC level. And they're going to continue to work with him as a point guard at Webster Groves, because even what Justin Mathis said was, I've never ran into a college coach that says they have too many ball handlers, too many guys that can take the ball up the floor, too many point guards. And that's what they want Scottie Adkinson to do. He's an incredible, off-ball player. He can shoot. Even in that story I wrote about him today, it's like a good breakdown of they drew up a play for him in the state tournament to drive the baseline, take defenders off of other players, pass out to the shooter. Instead, he pulls up and hits a fadeaway over 2 defenders and sinks it. And that's just who he was. It's he just has this killer mentality. And I've met the guy in person, and he's the nicest, most soft-spoken basketball player you'll ever meet. And that's just one thing I tried to capture, is that he has these 2 different switches that he turns on. Even talking to him over the phone, he's very quiet, not quiet, but soft-spoken, and he's just very just down to earth is another way that coaches have described him. And then I've talked to 2 different coaches, his own coach, a skills trainer, and they just said he's just this killer on the floor, a bulldog, really aggressive mentality, the way he plays, and he's not afraid of the contact, driving as a guard, and maybe a little bit smaller at 6'2", 170 of a guy that might be pushing in the paint, and he still does it well. And so Mizzou got a really good hit here. It is surprising to me. I think it is fair to say that this was a surprising commitment in the sense of when it happened, maybe not as surprising that he ended up choosing Mizzou. But this is big. Scottie actually moved to St. Louis ahead of his freshman year at Webster Groves, originally from Marion, Illinois, which is close to Kentucky. He grew up a Wildcats fan. He went to that game this year. I think he ended up making it for an unofficial visit. So he loved, Kentucky growing up. But Dennis Gates and Kyle Smith-Peters did a hell of a job to reel him in and keep him at Missouri.
Yeah, I think what is just what struck me, obviously, as you both kind of highlighted, the timing is just kind of out of nowhere. There was no real buzz coming up to it. That Kenny had it's getting close to commitment time, but who would have thought that on July 1st of 2025 that they'd have a top 30 guy in the class of 2027 already, just a feather in their cap. It's really cool for a number of reasons. I went and watched a little bit of film of him actually after this. And Kenny has also said he saw him in person. It's just not even fair half the time. He just looks like such a gifted offensive player. Obviously, the competition isn't always going to be up to snuff, I'd say. It's just a whole different world you're stepping into in college, especially at the high major SEC level. But there's a lot, obviously, that Dennis Gates and co. like. Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was Kyle Smith-Peters kind of leading the charge on this one. And he was promoted to associate head coach, CY's old role. He's really earned it the last few years with some of his recruiting wins, I'd say. Definitely seems to be a rising star. But Adkinson, by On3's rankings, I had Kenny check this for me. We've talked a lot about the high-ranking recruits Dennis has been able to bring in his time here. This guy is the cream of the crop. He's the highest-rated high school recruit Dennis Gates has reeled in, which is really saying a lot. And that doesn't include transfers, obviously. But just a crazy, surprising, really cool commitment. You don't see a lot of guys that are kind of that are just playing high school ball in Missouri that are this highly ranked that aren't going to Link Academy. So it's cool they were able to reel him in. And he might not be the only one from 2027 in Missouri that they that they get to. I know Branham is kind of like a high priority target. So we'll see where that goes. But as Kenny kind of put it, just a very surprising but very, very cool commitment to see this early on.
I think if you pair him well with Chase Branham, that's a pretty good tandem in the class of 2027. A little bit different of a player. Scottie Adkinson was a Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Missouri. So he's a big time guy, just not even just in Missouri, but nationally as well with those numbers Payton was giving you guys. But, pairing him with Branham has kind of been, eyed as a role kind of like similar to Tamar Bates and, Caleb Grill, something in between those two guys, what they did this past season. And he really likes what he saw from Caleb Grill. And he's even talked about some other players at Purdue and in Iowa over the past couple of years that he kind of relates to as well. So it is a good, set of guys. And when you bring up, Link Academy, it's an interesting thing, Payton. In the class of 2026, a lot of Mizzou's targets have kind of, started to trend towards Link. Ethan Taylor transferred there from his school in Shawnee Northwest, I believe, in Kansas. Another guy out of St. Louis, John Burroughs, Tristan Reed, he's going to Link Academy. And that was something I asked Justin Mathis, the coach at Webster Groves, is like, what does it mean that he's still here? I think that's one thing that, for a guy like Scottie Adkinson, he has to be getting feelers probably from big-time prep schools, even schools like Link or anywhere else. He plays for MoKan, which is affiliated with Link Academy now. And so, he thinks it's a lot of trust, a lot of maturity from Scottie to kind of stick to those, to the public high school, stick to, that area. And Justin Mathis has had some good players come through his program. He has another one in the class of 2028, and Miles Simpson, who's on Mizzou's radar. He has a Mizzou offer too. So he's got a really talented team, and they're trying to repeat as state champions in the state of Missouri. And it's just overall, like, you got to like what you're hearing about Scottie Adkinson. And one more big thing is that, even like his high school coach and the skills trainer I've spoken to before, they talk about that personal brand. And I saw it firsthand. He's a high schooler. He's going to be getting a lot of thousands of followers and NIL deals coming his way in the next year once that's, starting to be allowed. And one big thing is, like, he hasn't really let it get to his head. He's made the most important thing, and that's basketball. He likes, his coach said he likes the social media aspect, but he's never let that, take full aspect of what he's thinking about each day. And, he's still driven by basketball. And I thought that was a good note as well, just on Scottie.
Yeah, it seems like he's got the personality to gel with it too. I think you guys make some really good points. It's interesting, kind of the basketball landscape in that state with Link. I think it's important that he's doing well with MoKan. I think, Kenny, you noted he was averaging almost 18 points in about 8 games that he's played with them on the EYBL circuit. It's obviously stats at that level are so fluid because it's all year round now and stuff. But I watched a little bit of film of him too. I actually watched him against Tolton, I think last year with Aaron, when he played against Aaron Rowe, when he was still there. And that was pretty fun to watch. And yeah, he does have that. It's pretty obvious to tell, even at his age, the skills and the ability that he has both on and off ball as a guard. I think that's really exciting. There's only room for growth for him. And yeah, it's a cool story given that he's staying at Webster Groves. I'm sure it's something when you capture that state title and when you come up with, your guys, your teammates, kids, I'm sure he's grown up playing with from day one, you want to just kind of stick that out, see how many you can win before you go to the next level. So I think this is awesome. I think it's a testament to what Dennis Gates and Kyle Smith-Peters in particular have been able to do in kind of, you joke about the lock down the borders or whatever, I think is what Drinkwitz said when he first came over from football. And like Missouri's done a really good job of that, I think, with particularly those guys who aren't necessarily the imports to Link from out of state. And some of these guys that have grown up and now are watching this program enter year 3. And, they're seeing this as a successful place to be. And that's what Dennis Gates is trying to build. So I think it's exciting.
Yeah, it's not like the talent is like, pretty bad in St. Louis. There's some good teams, around this area. And I think he's still playing against some pretty good teams out there. They played really close with Chaminade, who beat DeSmet in I think it was the district, not finals, but district tournament. And so there's some good schools around here. Vashon has a really good point guard, and Jimmy McKinney III, a name that people should know from his dad playing at Mizzou. So there's a lot of good players around here, and I think a lot of good guards in the state of Missouri in class of 2027. And Mizzou ended up getting the best one right away, so that's a very good sign. He's still chasing the Chase Branhams of the world, Jimmy McKinney as well. So we'll see where those guys end up, but you have a good anchor to the 2027 class before you even made any leaps in the 2026 class, which will probably have some pretty elite players in it as well.
Yeah, 26 is looking like a good crop. So there you go. A kind of out of nowhere 2027 basketball pledge, and Scottie Adkinson. I have to point out too, I believe he's left-handed, so that's always going to win some props for me, the southpaw.
I'm glad you didn't break your left hand though, as you showed everyone just now on the YouTube.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I didn't even mean to do that on purpose. So I was talking about, yeah, the left hand is intact. Right hand, not so much. But Scottie Adkinson is a lefty. That's always going to win some points when I'm watching him on tape. So I'm excited to see him kind of grow in these next couple of seasons. So yeah, rare pop-up commit in the 2027 class for Mizzou men's basketball. We're going to keep the in-state vibe going, but we're going to go back to football. The train continues to roll for offensive linemen and offensive line commits, rather, for Mizzou football. They got another one on July 1st. We had talked about him in a couple of shows, kind of looking ahead to this beginning of July. We knew this was going to be a busy time, and Mizzou football did indeed land one of their targets, Braylon Ellison, 3-star offensive lineman. He's out of Boonville High School, so another in-state product. Offered, I know, Kenny, pretty recently, back early last month, and then kind of commits a month later. I know Oregon State was kind of the heavy team that was considered alongside Missouri, but a ton of ties. I'll let you kind of talk about those. I know his dad and his brother were both members of the Mizzou football program, and feels like a good win here. But more importantly to me, I mean, this is now the third offensive line commit in the now 9-man class for Mizzou, along with Khalif Candy Jr. and Brandon Anderson. For both of you guys, Ken, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Braylon Ellison choosing Mizzou over Oregon State?
Not even just a third offensive lineman, third interior offensive lineman. So that's, center guards that Mizzou is targeted. You don't see that all that too often. A couple of tackles that they were recruiting, they missed on. The big one, Evan Goodwin, committing to SMU. So opened up some opportunities to really, address the interior offensive line for the future. There's some good guys already in that room right now, and Henry Fanuca is one that really comes to mind as one of those athletic guards that Mizzou is really, pushing to be a part of the offensive line of the future. But third one in Braylon Ellison, not necessarily a surprise, but one of the big things, I just want people to kind of understand about Braylon Ellison. I even talked to him in March before Mizzou even offered him, is that, he wasn't really waiting on that Mizzou offer. He had opportunities to play at the next level. He was very bullish of himself. He had a good quote that he gave me, even during that time that he didn't have the Mizzou offer. And he was like, if I didn't believe in myself, I mean, that's just like, detriment to my father. Like he always had, that belief that he could play at that next level, no matter if that was with Coastal Carolina Navy or, Washington State, some of these other schools that were pursuing him and gave him offers. It was just, about that he believed in himself, that he could go out there and play for it. He wasn't just going to wait on Mizzou just because there was some interest. He didn't have the offer yet. He'd been on a couple visits, camps. And of course, his dad works for the team, T. Ellison, who was a big time, Big 12 defensive lineman in the early 2000s and playing in the NFL for I think 6 years. So, it's a big deal for him that, he's going to continue his family's legacy, but he also just wants to make his own name known. I think one of the biggest things that, Braylon kind of told me is like, he's not just choosing Mizzou because his dad and his brother also wore the uniform. And I think that's something that people should take to heart too, that this kid really wants to just be his own player. He doesn't want to just wear the Ellison name on the back of his jersey just because his dad was a Big 12 player, because his brother walked on at linebacker a couple years ago. So a lot of, real cool moving parts about this one as well. He was offered, like you said, Jack, during his official visit. So they approached him early in the week in early June for that official visit weekend from June 6th to the 8th. And we're like, hey, you want to come on an official visit? Looked at it. Set it up. He just come off an OV at Oregon State. He went to the elite camp on that Thursday, did a lot of great stuff on the offensive line and on the defensive line. I don't necessarily think that maybe the future will be a defensive tackle, but we've seen Mizzou players switch positions all the time before, especially in the last couple of years under Eli Drinkwitz and his staff. So maybe an opportunity opens up, but definitely just looking at that offensive line for the future. Boonville guy, right down the road. If you're in tune with Mizzou social media and just with Mizzou football too, you've probably seen his brother Tyson Ellison, who was a walk-on linebacker, like I said, works at KOMU now. So he's going to be covering him this fall, which I really thought was a cool touch. And he's going to be calling some of the games on the radio too for a local radio station, doing color commentary for the Boonville game. So he's going to get a high sky look, eagle eye, whatever you want to say.
Eye in the sky.
Eye in the sky look. Thank you, Jack. On his brother. So he's going to have a lot of fun with that one. And he told his brother, I have in my stories about Braylon too, for his commitment, I talked to Tyson about it. He told him, he's like, wherever you go, I'm following. I'm going to find a job in that city. I will be covering you in college. Wherever you go, I will try my best to be there. and he's not going to have to go very far. He's going to be able to stay at home. He's going to graduate early, so he's going to have opportunities to cover his brother in high school and college, which is a really cool thing to see because he played with his brother in high school for a year. But overall, it's a wholesome commitment, but also one where Braylon's really kind of on the rise. I think he tore up his shoulder his freshman year, so really didn't have an opportunity to compound his freshman year into a stellar sophomore year to start getting offers. So this fall could be a big stepping stone for him to kind of get more on the radar of some of the national analysts, because you look at those rankings right now, he's still not ranked by the new Rivals on 3 group, but he was a 5.53 star at Rivals, and 247 even has him as the 7th best recruit in Missouri, and that's how he kind of compares. ESPN doesn't have him ranked right now either, but 3rd offensive lineman in that group, and a real emphasis on interior offensive line right now. There's no other offensive tackles right now on the board. And like I said before, just, if you're going to miss on the Sam Greers, the Jackson Cantwells, and the Evan Goodwins, why keep going down the list? And maybe some of these other recruits that you didn't really see taking those steps to play in the SEC, maybe they turn more to maybe a bigger target this fall if someone, shows up, or they pivot to the transfer portal pretty hard this winter.
Payton, your thoughts on Ellison, a wholesome commit, another interior option, seems like more of a long-term project, but I think, like Kenny pointed out, it's always good to kind of bolster. I know you think this as well, bolster your offensive line just with numbers and give guys the opportunity to kind of grow that room as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny kind of hammered everything there. I will say, I still really would like to see Missouri go after someone they project to be a tackle in the future. I do like that they're loading up on the interior because, eventually, I don't think we anticipate the way things are looking. We'll see Caden Green back at Missouri after this season. Connor Tollison will be on the way out, so they'll need a lot of new bodies on the interior. But I am now hopeful that they kind of turn their attention, kind of put the blitz on some sort of tackle that they like. I know Greer was one they wanted. Not much you can do when Ohio State wants an in-state guy. Goodwin, that one hurt. Obviously, maybe they can make a late flip miss play there. I know Drinkwitz obviously likes that, but Ellison, good. It's good to just keep stacking bodies on the interior. And, a legacy like him, I think, does deserve a shot, especially when he does look like a legit player. Had offers to go play elsewhere. It's not just like he's getting a preferred walk-on opportunity at Mizzou. This is a legit player. So interested to see what he can do with the opportunity.
Yeah, late blooming offensive linemen, it's always interesting, and their senior season to me feels like it becomes really important to, kind of try and raise their stock as they enter college, because they're going to be on more of a long-term trajectory in terms of when they play. But yeah, an exciting one in Braylon Ellison. So the 9th edition for Mizzou in the class of 2026. And I don't think we'll have to wait, for too long, at least for some more commitment news, one way or the other. For Mizzou, because there's going to be a couple of other early July announcements. So Drinkwitz and hoping for a happy 4th in that regard, and we'll have it all as the month rolls on. It'll be interesting to see, like Payton said, if they make maybe late plays on for offensive linemen, or for our offensive tackles, I should say. But yeah, 2 commits for Mizzou, 1 for football, 1 for men's hoops, which was very fun to talk about. I'm glad we got some hoop discussion in July. That's always a nice plus on the show. But for now, we're going to segue. We'll finish off the show with quick hits. Okay, quick hits time. We'll finish off the show. Got Jersey of the Week. Kenny, your Jersey of the Week.
My Jersey of the Week goes to Sophie Cunningham, who is now a Commissioner's Cup 2025 for the Indiana Fever. I believe it's just the equivalent of the of the NBA version, which goes on too. So pretty cool. She gets a trophy. They had a big celebration. There's videos everywhere. It's the only thing that Sophie Cunningham was in the news for this week. There wasn't anything else, or like another interview where she maybe talked bad about 2 sports towns. So the best thing, let's congratulate Sophie Cunningham on winning a ring. I think you get a ring out of this, right? Right, Jack?
Oh, I think so. They at least get a, it's good that Indiana finally got to win a trophy. Like that's nice for them. That's what
They've
I'll
won.
say.
They've won an Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, you get a trophy for that. It is. I mean, they did this without Caitlin Clark too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think she was playing.
Yeah,
I
she's
think she was
injured.
hurt.
She's missed like 3
Yeah.
straight games.
Yeah,
She is still in the celebrations though.
Mhm.
So yeah, congrats to Sophie. Congrats to the Fever. And yeah, thoughts on Cleveland as a sports town, gentlemen? What do you think?
Never been.
I actually like Cleveland.
Never
I
been
had
to
fun.
Cleveland.
I went there for the NCAA. I'll defend Cleveland. I went there for the NCAA tournament this year, and it was actually pretty fun. I had a good time. Newark, New Jersey, that's a bad sports town. If you want any of them, they can come for me. I don't care. Payton, your jersey of the week.
My jersey of the week is going to be another former Mizzou Tiger in the hoops world, because Michael Porter Jr., a mere day after Jack said he wasn't going to get traded, was traded. He was traded along with an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Cam Johnson. I believe this is more a cap move than anything else. I know, like, there was that clip of the Nuggets. I think it was it Kroenke talking?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was Kroenke talking about the second apron like it was the devil. So
Well,
it seemed
is.
like they were pretty desperate to move some cap off the books, and this is how they did it. So Michael Porter Jr. is on the move.
Yeah, he's in net. The Nuggets, yeah, this is a good move for the Nuggets. Did I say he wasn't going to get traded, or did I say that Kroenke said he wasn't going to get traded because he went to Mizzou? Because that's
Either way, the words
that's gonna
he's
say.
not gonna get traded came out of your mouth, and he was traded a day later.
This Josh Kroenke, who has said some very funny things, including in that when he was talking about the second apron being the devil, mentioned that he might have to trade Jokic, which is insane. He said once that Michael Porter Jr. wouldn't be traded. Like the report was that he wouldn't be traded because he has ties to Missouri. And so does Josh Kroenke, and that's why they were never going to get rid of him. But they did trade him. So I mean, the Nets are really bad. He'll play a lot. He'll probably get to take a lot of threes. So unless Cam Johnson has anything to say about it. Not Cam Johnson, sorry. Cam Thomas. Sorry.
Oh wow, yeah, I honestly read it as Cam Thomas. I got a buddy from high school. His name was Cam Thomas, and he loved the Cam Thomas on the Nets. So I didn't even realize that was Cam Johnson. I know this isn't a new thing, and it's been mentioned before. But 2032, I looked it up. Kids that are in 5th grade right now will graduate high school in 2032. So kids that are in 6th grade right now have an opportunity to be drafted in the NBA.
With that pick. Well, yeah, it was. I think we're now on 2032. I think that's the furthest pick along that can get moved now. So that's how far we are into the future. You can now trade that pick, which is insane. Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. net. I'm staying on the same track. I have another former Tiger on the move as my jersey of the week. It's going to go to Jordan Clarkson. He was not traded. He signed, however, in free agency with the New York Knicks. This was on the 30th of June, if you didn't see it. He was, I believe, waived by the Utah Jazz, spent 6 seasons there over in Utah, averaged 16 points, 3 and 3 last year. He won 6th man of the year with the Jazz, too. I forgot about that in 2021. Jordan Clarkson. So he's now a Knick. I kind of love this for him. I mean, the Knicks are contending. They hired Mike Brown as their new coach, who I actually like. I think that's a pretty good hire. He'll probably be the backup to Mikal Bridges, Jordan Clarkson. So maybe another 6th man of the year for him. I like this.
He didn't play with MPJ, but do you think they'll room together? Like, I don't know. I mean, rent's really expensive in New York City.
Also,
I know they're in different boroughs, but not that far. Train ride,
I guess.
Uber.
Yes, I'm sure the picture, if they like both get lunch or something and wear Mizzou gear, would go hard. That would be fun.
I know MPJ drives a Tesla because during COVID, he went back home for a little bit before the bubble, and I once drove past him or behind him. I could tell you it's him because his license plate was from Denver or from Colorado. They had Denver on there somewhere, and it said MPJ. I also saw him get out of the car.
I was going to
go
say,
a
didn't you
smoothie
see
place.
him?
I did. I yelled MPJ at him.
His license says
He went like
MP
this.
His
then I
license
drove
says
off.
MPJ.
His license plate, yes, MPJ.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, he might not have the car anymore. This was, 5 years ago? Yeah, over 5 years ago.
That's Tesla. That makes sense. The license plate saying MPJ is funny. That's like an out of a movie. That's like a movie stock like basketball player character has his own nickname on his license plate. Good for MPJ. Yeah. So Mizzou Tigers on the
I
move.
like no cap, and he's the main bird.
Sean East, some NBA team, go shine, Sean East. Kenny, your main bird.
My main bird of the week goes to former Mizzou pitcher Bryce Mayer, who's on the move again. He's up to AA Corpus Christi. He received that promotion earlier this week. Bird tie, he started his pro career with the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, single A of the Astros. Astros keep moving him up. They also gave him the lower level Pitcher of the Month award for June. He had a 3.32 ERA, 23 Ks in 19 innings. I know that's not jumping off the page at you, but he played in the South Atlantic League at High A with the Asheville Taurus, which is like a hitter's haven. If you didn't know, they play at McCormick Field in Asheville, North Carolina. Down the right field line is like 293 feet. So that is shorter than most high schools. So probably all high schools that have legitimate high school fields. It's just a very old stadium. That's how it works. He's right-handed. If he's facing lefties, they are just probably feasting if they, at that and want an opportunity to just crank home runs on that short porch. But pitching really well. We've talked about him so much already on this podcast. And I'll say it again. I was told he was a revelation going to spring training, and they really like what they got at a 16th round pick in Bryce Mayer, who's trending to be the Astros minor league pitcher of the year at this point. I can confidently say that.
We're a Bryce Mayer podcast now.
We are.
He's been on here a lot, and deservedly so. I'm not making fun of you, Kenny. I'm just he has been special with them, it seems like.
Yeah. No, it's very, very exciting. Hopefully he can take that title of minor league pitcher of the year for the Astros. We'll keep being a Bryce Mayer podcast. Payton, your main bird.
My main bird of the week. It's going okay. So bear with me here. It's preseason.
Bird with you here.
Season. It's preseason award season. This is mainly going to be Caden Green focused, but my bird tie here it has to do with the Phil Steele preseason All SEC teams. Ahmad Hardy is on the second team All SEC running back. He, of course, was a former ULM Warhawk. So there's the bird connection. But the lone first team representative on Phil Steele's preseason All SEC team is, of course, Caden Green. You also have, as I mentioned, Ahmad Hardy, second team. Kevin Coleman and Jalen Catalan are also second team. Tristan Newsome and Josiah Trotter on the third team, along with Dalen Carnell. And the fourth team is Connor Tollison and Chris McClellan. So some interesting names there. Caden Green was also on two other preseason lists. He was named a third-team All-American and a second-team preseason All-American for Athlon Sports and Walter Camp, respectively. So there you go. Preseason awards are out of the way. If you guys have anything to add, feel free to do so. I know we all love the preseason and postseason awards.
We sure do. I've been seeing a lot of hype for Jalen Catalan. I'm getting very excited for him next year in the secondary. I didn't think that this is like super arbitrary and has nothing to probably do with their real football ability, but he got a really high rating on the NCAA football game for 26. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't realize he was like that well regarded. I knew it was a big addition, but I just I didn't know the hype would be this high for him. And that's really exciting because this is a secondary that I think needs it. So him and Carnell back there, I think it's really exciting. So that's probably my only note.
My only note is that you had a perfect bird connection, and that's why I was kind of probably not focusing too much on this. I've looked over this already, but I was looking up to find out where Phil Steele went to college, and I'm a little bit blown away by where he went to college. I've never heard of it. It's Cardiff Metropolitan University in Wales. But Edwin the Owl is the mascot.
This is the same Phil Steele?
Yeah, when you look up Phil Steele College, it says Cardiff Metropolitan University.
Okay, but it's this Phil Steele.
Yeah, that's the first thing that pops up.
It's this Phil Steele and not another famous Phil Steele.
Yeah, it's this one. I don't know why.
I'm looking it up. I'm being the set. We're doing good reporting. Phil Steele,
Everything that
American
pops
sports
up.
writer. Phil Steele is a respected college. Wait, here's his Wikipedia.
It's not on his Wikipedia. I just searched it, and that was the first thing that popped up.
I'm just curious if there's more famous Phil Steeles. It's
No,
not super.
it's a photo of him.
I don't know what Phil Steele looks like. Could be a photo of anybody.
When you Google Phil Steele, a picture of Brian Kelly comes up. So
Yeah, it's the first one. Second one's him. Yeah, see, it says education, Cardiff Metropolitan University.
okay.
Wow. That is
Wales.
some university.
The Welsh know football.
United Kingdom.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm excited for football. I'm not necessarily excited to read more awards. Peyton, did you have more on Caden Green?
Nope. He's just an All-American according to everyone already.
That is, yeah, it's very exciting. My main bird of the week, it's going to be a far worse bird connection for Peyton, so bear with me. It's going to Bradley Mulder. If you don't know who that is, I'm about to tell you. First off, the bird connection. Bradley Mulder is a golfer. What's a type of shot in golf, Peyton?
That's
Say
not
it with me.
okay. There's not a birdie
Say it with
shot
me.
or
No,
an eagle
no.
shot.
There you go. Eagle.
That's not a shot. That's a result.
Okay,
That's a
sorry.
score.
Result. My bad. I didn't use the right technical term. The
Oh
point
yeah,
is-
let me get out the pitching wedge and hit an eagle real quick. That's
Okay,
a
whatever.
thing golfers say, Jack. Good one.
Whatever. Eagle is my bird connection. It's a result you can earn in golf. My bad. Bradley Mulder, he is the newest Mizzou Tiger. He transferred to Mizzou from Colorado Christian University, which is in at the Division II level. Spent 2 years there. He won a national championship in 2024. His first year there. That was Colorado Christian's first national championship in any sport, which I thought was kind of a fun note. So he's very good. 2-time All Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference honors. He was the freshman of the year in the conference. Won his first, I think, and only individual honor so far. He won the Centennial Cup shooting a 63. That was a school record. So he's very good at the D2 level. He's from Spokane, Washington originally, and he will be part of a growing Mizzou golf team. They've been good. They reached regionals 3 last 4 years.
He has a twin brother.
Does he?
Yeah.
Mark Mulder.
It doesn't say his brother's name, no. His brother plays golf at Northwest Nazarene University.
Oh,
Here's another fun bird connection. So
I didn't
Colorado
find.
Christian Cougars, if you shorten that, you could call them the CC Cougars. Another CC Cougars in the college ranks you may be familiar with are the Columbia College Cougars. Their main rivals are the, oh gosh, why am I blanking on the name? The Owls from the one in
William Woods.
Yeah, William Woods. That's it. The Owls from William Woods.
Am I wrong for doing Eagle after we just heard that? No, I'm not. The answer is no.
I'm just throwing.
Did you look up where he went to high school?
I actually didn't. I forgot to do that. Did he go to a?
I couldn't find it.
I did not look up where he went to high school. I'll do it while Peyton reads his best thing. We'll see if I had an easier bird connection. Best thing, Peyton.
Best thing I learned this week. Mizzou women's basketball has its first high school commitment under Kelly Harper. It is Cecilia Brandamore. She is a 6'4" forward from Franklin, Tennessee. She had a couple other offers. The main, I think, the big names out of that would be Minnesota and Louisiana Tech. I know you guys may laugh at me bringing up Louisiana Tech, but they were a legit women's basketball program back in the day. But yeah, it's the first high school commit under Kelly Harper. It's from an area she's obviously familiar with in Tennessee. 6'4", that's pretty decent size. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty big rebuild job for the women's basketball program over the next couple of years. So hopefully Cecilia Brandamore can be a big part of it.
Yeah, an exciting addition for Mizzou women's basketball. I continue to really just love what Kelly Harper has done ahead of her first season. I think it's going to be a highly anticipated one. Women's basketball back, dare I say, already? That might be bold. I don't know.
We'll see.
But I'm getting excited. This is a good addition for the Tigers on that front. Kenny, What did you learn? Also, real quick, I did find the high school. They're the Panthers, so no bird.
Okay.
Try my best.
Panthers, Cougars, and Tigers. This guy loves big cats.
Oh, my. My best thing I learned this week, Payton said it earlier, but Kyle Smith-Peters promoted to associate head coach. He's been with the program since 2022, coming over from John A. Logan, where he spent a long time as the head coach. And the JUCO ranks, brought a lot of knowledge, brought some ties to the JUCO ranks too within recruiting. And Tuesday just ended up being a big day for Mizzou news. Braylon Ellison committed. Kyle Smith-Peters got a promotion the same day that a guy that he was recruiting committed. And Scottie Adkinson, just big day all around. And, a couple quotes here. I'll just read the one from Dennis Gates. Kyle has played a pivotal role as we've restored Missouri basketball nationally and placed it among the top of the SEC during the last 3 seasons. His efforts in recruiting and development of student athletes is one of the key reasons for our success at Mizzou. He has been tremendous at building relationships and locking down top targets before helping them reach their full potential on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. He has exceeded all of my expectations, and this promotion is well earned as we continue to chase championships. That's from Dennis Gates. 2 NCAA tournament bids and 20-win seasons, best SEC finish in school history, helped secure number 5 recruiting class in 2023, 5 Tigers signed with NBA teams. It's happened all under the Dennis Gates, Kyle Smith-Peters era. Of course, there's been other assistants involved there as well, but Kyle Smith-Peters gets a well-earned promotion to associate head coach.
Who's the 5th one? Sean East?
Yeah,
I'd assume so.
Sean East? Yeah. Okay.
Demoy Hodge, Kobe Brown.
Kobe Brown, Tamar Bates, Caleb Grill, Sean East. Yeah, because Drew
Michael
Smith
Million was in the.
He never signed, but yeah, he played in. He went to the camp.
Yeah,
for Portland.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Because that's also where I think Des Moines went first, or maybe after.
I guess they don't count Mo Diarra.
I thought someone went Trey Chameleon. Yeah, this is awesome. I really
it should be
Kyle.
6.
Who's the 6th?
Oh man, why am I blanking on his name? He barely played in Dennis's first year for personal reasons.
Oh my God, Isaiah Mosley.
Oh, Isaiah Mosley. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know if he signed. I don't think he signed with the Hornets.
He was drafted in the G League.
G League. Okay, so he never actually signed it.
I don't know what that counts as. Yeah.
I don't think that counts because signed is saying a 2-way deal, which is what all the other ones signed. I don't think Mosley. I think Mosley just signed a G League contract. That's good though. That was a good test. I really like Kyle Smith-Peters. I've now had a couple of firsthand accounts of with people who have met him and just spoken with him, and just seems like a really great dude as well. I know pretty nice with media members and stuff. Not that has any weight, but it's significant in terms of. I think it's a sign of his character as a relationship builder. So I'll just throw that in there. But yeah, very exciting. Oh, did we get it right? Demoy Hodge, Sean East, Tamar Bates, Caleb Grill. We did, and Kobe Brown, of course. My best thing I learned this week: Brady Cook is back in the news. Kind of, not really.
Not really.
He was added to a CFL negotiation list for one of the teams. If you don't know what the CFL negotiation list is, I didn't either, so I looked it up for you. So every team has in the CFL, the Canadian Football League, has a negotiation list of up to 45 players who are either currently unsigned or playing in the NFL, in another professional league, or in college. Teams hold exclusive CFL negotiating rights with players on their lists, and those players can be added, traded, or removed at any time. So essentially, if Brady Cook goes to the CFL, he can only try out for one team. That team is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That was the team he was picked up by. So that's notable. If Brady Cook does go, hopefully he can stick with the Jets on their roster. There actually is another guy. I'm hoping neither of you looked at the full list. There's another guy from Mizzou who was added to this list. I would like you guys to guess. And Kenny, don't click on anymore because I don't want
I already know who it is.
Oh, dang it.
I know who it is as well.
Oh, I thought you guys wouldn't see it. It's Corey Flagg, who is on the BC line.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just tricked
him
into
really?
telling me.
Oh, I thought it would have been shared. He is on the BC Lions. I checked. There wasn't any others. There was a couple. There's one guy from one of the Missouri Baptist maybe that was on a team. At least when I was command effing Missouri into all these rosters, I think one of those popped up. Central Missouri maybe. So yeah, Corey Flagg technically as well, and Brady Cook are both on lists. Kenny, if you go back to the tweet that the Sickos committee posted, this is pretty fun. There's some funny names on here that they included as like highlights along with Brady Cook. That's how we saw it. You've got John Mateer, who is Oklahoma's current quarterback. On Ottawa, the two guys on Ottawa are who I'm going to draw your attention to. First off, this is a my bad thing. I've told you guys off air, I'm going to have to go through all of the college football rosters and remember who has transferred places. Totally forgot that Zach Calzada is at Kentucky now. Totally forgot that until I looked him up. And then the other guy on Ottawa, the other quarterback is Reese Poffenbarger. Can you guys name me the 4 schools that Reese Poffenbarger played for in his college career? I would just if you have a guess.
Albany,
yep.
Miami. I don't know the other 2.
So I just thought I want to shout him out because I thought it was so funny that he started out at Old Dominion, came out of high school.
I think I know the last one then.
Go for it.
North Texas was the last one.
Yep. So it was Old Dominion to Albany to Miami to North Texas. Absolutely insane journey through college football for that guy. I just thought that was fun. I was looking all these names up. Shadora's on there. He was on Toronto. So Max Duggan, who is 30 years old.
Poffenberger's still playing. I just looked him up.
I think he is still Albany's quarterback.
North Texas.
Or North Texas's quarterback. Yeah. Yeah, because they can still be in college. You've got like Kobe Bryant on there, who is the Kansas DB, who's on the Falcons. So yeah, just kind of some funny names. But there you go, Brady Cook. He has to if he goes to CFL, he has to try out with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's the headline there of that. And that's all I have for the best thing I learned. Payton, do you have a joke to finish it off for us?
I sure do, guys. This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, why can't leopards play hide and seek?
Why can't leopards play hide and seek?
Oh, because they're cheetahs.
No.
I don't hate that guess. I like where your head
no.
was. Why can't leopards play hide and seek? Because they're snow fun and they're snow leopards.
Because they're always spotted.
I was thinking about something striped. I don't know why, but yeah, that makes sense.
Wrong big cat, man.
Wrong big cat. We talking about a lot of big cats. There's a big cat behind Peyton right now.
There's a big dog behind Kenny and a balloon.
Two big cats behind Peyton.
Very distracting. There you go. That'll do it for the unwritten rule. Hope you all enjoyed. We will send it away. Kenny, can you put the dog on the solo screen to end the show? I can talk behind him. That'll do it. Woof, woof. That'll do it for the unwritten rule, folks. We will see you on the next show. Until then, stay classy. Woof,
We
woof.
still see your arm, Kenny.